Hello and welcome to Star Citizen Sunday with me, Ryan, aka Stifu Messiah. This is a weekly show which covers all from the world of Star Citizen over the past week. Links are provided in the description if you would like to check out anything I mention in more detail. So let's get on with the show. In this week's show we look at the latest patches. We have the usual ton for the chairman and around the verse, and there's a letter from the chairman with reaching 53 million. Plus Ubles more. Let's get started. Okay, so with the release of the version 0.9, there were a few issues, as you can expect. They can't squash every bug. So they released a patch, first of all, 13.0.1, which fixes connectivity issues and it repairs the missing checkpoint from one of the tracks. I wasn't sure which one, but apparently one was missing. So they also took down private servers in order to address this connectivity issue, which means that friends codes don't work in the private server and you can't go on the private server, but apparently they should work in public matches. Whether they do or not, I don't know. I know someone commented saying they've been waiting ages to try to get in and it's not worked. So hopefully they'll get that sorted for you all. After that there was 13.0.2, which is another patch which helps the gamepad sensitivity. So I suppose it makes it a little easier to, so it reacts quicker, I would have thought. I used mouse and keyboard. I don't know about you, but I've not actually tried the gamepad yet. I should probably give that a whirl. It also fixes the no match found error. So hopefully, I've noticed a difference. I'm getting into matches every time now. There's no connectivity issues, so hopefully it's working for you guys too. So they did mention that a more significant patch, which is going to be 13.1, it'll hopefully bring customizable key bindings, which I know a lot of you will be hoping for. So you can make things more accessible with your fingers, depending on what you want to do when. But also the M50 will be able to be accessed through the menus, which currently apparently it's not able to. So, they're fixing what they've done. So hopefully it won't be long. So, on 10 for the chairman, there were some very, very good questions. He was joined by Ben Lesnick, as they had a lot of memorabilia left over from the closing of, I think it was Lithic Studios, one of the Origin branches, which was the one that created Wing Commander with Chris Roberts. So they had a lot of like medals and trophies and whatnot, and I suppose just sort of artwork and things like that. But going to the questions, and I haven't put in all the questions. Some of them I feel are not necessary, etc. But let's get on with it. So question one, my number one, was about how powerful will space stations be. For example, the Death Star from Star Wars. Now, would we be able to take them over and, that sort of idea behind the game? And the answer was that there will be definitely space stations to attack and defend. Some of them will be big and they'll have bigger defences. Some of them will be AI driven, not always players capturing them to fight other players. But I suppose once you've taken the base off from an AI group, then if someone came, like a real player came to attack you, then it would be player v player. So it's sort of not always player driven, but it will be if you're taking it from the AI. And he says that there will be some sort of, you'll have to have your friends flying in to take out the defences, and then you'll have a boarding ship that will come in and drop everyone off, and you would all go in and attack at the same time. And it's really, really cool space combat. Very much like normal combat now. You have your crew that take in the anti-aircraft. So he said it'll be anti-spacecraft weapons, and then you bring in your APCs to come in and everyone offloads and drives in when you're doing a siege or a raid or whatnot. So it'll be exactly the same as real life, but with spaceships and EVA maybe, depending on where the space station is. Really cool. I cannot wait for that. The question after that was about documenting, as an explorer, documenting flora and fauna of planets and the universe for the Galactopedia, and also, on a side note, maybe selling it to the black market or selling it to UEE for research. Now, I remember when I used to play Oblivion, I would start drawing the little, like sort of botanical art, drawing these plants that you have, and then listing below them little, I don't know, what they can do for their special abilities with the plants. So when you go to mix herbs and create potions, you'll know, and I was actually wanting to create a full physical book that I would sell, but I'm not that good at drawing. So, could that happen in Star Citizen? And he says that you'd be able to map out jump points, asteroid fields, ancient ruins, but he didn't mention that it was a definite. He did say he really likes the idea of that, of having plants that you can collect, like collecting fish, same sort of field. So he said it could be a part. He said he's very interested in that. Hopefully he will put that in. It probably won't be the first instance of the PU, but it will come. And he'd also mentioned about achievements, how on consoles you have these trophies on PlayStation and whatnot, and achievements on the Xbox. He says that it'll be more like physical achievements, so you'll collect a memento from a planet and have it in your hangar, rather than just having like a thing pop up saying, well done, you've achieved this, because they are sort of non-existent in the real world. Not that a physical memento in Star Citizen is the real world, of course. So, the next question 3, is to do with death of a spaceman and about ejection pods and whether or not these ejection pods can be rescued by real players. So could you have an organisation that will rescue real players who have ejected? And the answer is yes, for players, and also you can rescue NPCs, and there may be NPC crews out there that will rescue you, like a search and rescue thing. So that will be happening. So the example he gave, the question gave was, if I have a cutlass, can I fly up and have a mission trying to rescue people who have ejected from their ship in a battle and they're just floating aimlessly around space? So yes, that is a yes. The next question 4, is to do with spaceports, and whether or not when you come into land, will you be able to see other players' ships, and if so, will you be able to run up to them and steal them? Now, thank God, because I'm not going to be doing that myself, so I wouldn't want it happening to me. It's not going to happen like that. Your landing zone will be your instance. You'll be there on your own, in your own instance. There won't be other people around you. He said on bigger planets, you will likely see other people landing off in the distance. So like if the planet side has 6 landing slots, then you may see NPCs or real players landing off in the distance, but you can't hop out your ship and run along and then steal theirs. It would be a case of probably getting onto a tram and going down, but whether or not you can get into their hangar side, I doubt it very much. So, no to that one. So, the next question was about the airspace surrounding a planet. So when you come into and you want to land, will there be a space traffic control authorization you'll need? Can you barge your way into a planet if they say no? And second and thirdly, would it be closed? Will the spaceport be closed if there's a large volume of traffic coming in? And what Chris Roberts says is, what you'll do is you'll communicate and request permission to land with, like it says, the traffic controller of that spaceport or that planet. So you'll sit in your ship, you'll get to the place where you would want to dock, and you'd contact them and say, can I dock planet side? They will give you the authorization, and then you will be automatically taken in to the planet and to your landing zone. Now, obviously, a lot of people would be like, oh, well, I want to land physically, I want to literally fly down to a planet, have all the buildings and everything render in real time, and then land, and it's just not possible. But it's not necessary for a negative view on that, because what you'll be able to do when you're being automated into this landing zone, you can walk around the ship, your own ship, you can look out, you can see everything coming in. It will be like, it's instead of like a loading screen, you'll be able to go and get changed, maybe gather up some gear that you want, or, maybe if you've collected a fish for someone, you can grab your fish and take it with you. I don't know. But yeah, you'll be able to walk around your ship, so not all is lost in that one, and I like the idea of that. Sounds very nice. So the next question was about the New Horizon Raceway. It was to do with how close he'd noticed this raceway being to the planet, and whether or not there'll be gravity effects or weather effects within the race. Now, it's kind of a long-winded to answer this. It explains how there is a slight gravity in the New Horizons. In the version we're playing now, there's apparently a slight gravity pull, which I haven't noticed. I mean, when I stop in my ship, I stop. I don't move. So he says there is room for the engine to allow wind and gravity, and he says that there may have been wind left in before they put it out there to everyone. He doesn't know that himself. It depends on the person who had control of that. But he did say that certain race ports or race tracks will be affected differently by weather and how close they are to the planet, depending on gravity and so forth. So there is room for scope, and it'll make some interesting races. You'll have to learn, like if you've ever played iRacing or similar simulation racing games, you'll have to learn the track. You can't just jump in and expect to win, because it's not forgiving in reality. So hopefully, it's going to be difficult. You'll have to get used to the track, sort of. So yeah, there will be different effects. So after that, the question was about ship black boxes. So if you like a plane, you'll have a black box which will record everything that's happened in that flight, and that's what they always look for in plane crashes. Is this box flight recorder thing that tells you what's happened. So will our ships have them, and can it be used as evidence or blackmail if you were attacked by a pirate and survived and you've got your black box? Can you then take that, say, I'll take it to the UEE and rat you out as being a pirate, or can you sell it? And he says the way that PvP is regulated is that if you're in a system where it's policed and you get attacked, your ship will automatically send out a distress signal. So that will be sent off to different relays and sent across the universe, and the people who are policing that area will come into your aid and help you. Whether or not it'll say it was this ship that attacked me, I don't know. But this really impressed me. It said how if you were trying to attack a ship, so let's say, for example, you're trying to intercept a convoy of certain cargo and you've got enough ships to make a difference, in attacking them, there will be some sort of software you can purchase for your ship which will allow to block the distress signal that is sent from these ships. He did mention that it will be difficult to do this. It's not going to be an easy sort of like press a button and there we go, it's blocked. So with that in mind, will that mean that you'll have, if you were a player with the ability to do this well, that would be a really unique selling point for you if you were trying to look for jobs and to be hired to do that as a role, a specific role in a ship, if you're wanting to, distort the distress signals. So, I mean, it sort of leaves way for other opportunities. So if you're a really skilled gunsman or pilot, then obviously you will have a much better selling point to yourself than someone who is just an average pilot. So, maybe that would be some good sort of skills you could learn properly, not just like, I've just advanced, so I'm this level now and I can do this. It's more like you will learn by using it and by doing it. So that would really open up a lot of concepts for how you develop as a character. So again, the next question, very, very good question, and again the answer is exciting. It's to do with boarding and about using explosives and whether or not if you threw a grenade in, took out the crew, this was the example the question gave, if you took out the crew of a connie that you were trying to board with a grenade, would it have any impact with the interior of the ship? Like would it destroy the seats and the piloting controls and stuff? And he said yes, internal damage is there. So it says you've got to be careful, if you're using a certain weapon that, say like you had like a 50 cal sniper and you were trying to break into this, board this ship, and you shot and missed, or even hit and it went straight through and through a window, then it would be breached, the window would be breached. It would have to be decompressed, you would have to go to EVA and put in your suits. So it really opens up a whole aspect for boarding, and you'd have to choose your weapon. So if you're a group of pirates and you're wanting to board this connie, you've got to think, right, well, if we use this weapon, this ammo type, it'll blow a hole in the wall. If we throw grenades or explosives, it'll destroy the ship, and then we'd have to, salvage it, take it back, get it repaired if you're going to sell it, or you'd have to make sure you're wearing EVA kits with oxygen, because if it gets decompressed, which he did say, if you were boarding a ship, the captain can decompress the cabin or the area so that you're boarding into, so you'll have to be EVA or you'd have to have oxygen because you could suffocate otherwise. So it really opens up this huge aspect to planning your boarding mission and getting really good at boarding and having a group that knows exactly what they're doing. Maybe you use a submachine gun, so you're just using 5.56 ammo rather than your armor piercing sort of 7mm rounds. So there's a lot of concept game developing for that. So if you're wanting to take on a ship, you could be a fully crewed boarding group that can be hired out to capture ships or anything. Really, really cool stuff. So that's about it for the 10 for the chairman. There wasn't 10, as I said. I only picked out the ones that I feel most excited for. If you are interested in any of the questions, take a look. Some of them are good. They're not all amazing questions. One of them is about ship AI and whether or not they'll have a personality. And the other stuff is about if you died planet side with your ship, what would happen. But to be honest, they're quite straightforward, and you kind of know it already what is likely to happen. But check it out if you're interested. Right, so we reached the 53 million mark quite a while ago, and Chris Roberts apologises for the delay in getting the letter from the chairman out so late. So with that 53 million mark, it means we get the Independent Arbitrators Guild. Now I keep trying to plug my services in being hired for this job, but it looks like he's going to get someone who has like a paralegal past, so they know what they're doing, like a professional in that department, and just training them up on the PU so they know how to handle it. So I'm pretty much out of the question. Never mind. So for the next stretch goal, excluding obviously 54 million, because we know what that is, that's the AI from Tony Zurovic. But the next one after that will be the 55 million, which is quite a milestone in itself, obviously. And it's to do with ship components and ship customizing. He says that he wants to bring back the whole physical aspect of where you get something for your hangar or for your ship. And it'll also play in the part of the Arena Commander and the Voyager Direct stores, of populating them with new items. And they gave you a choice of 10 different items, ranging from laser weapons to cooling units, he says. So there are 5 different weapons. I won't go into all of them, or I won't go into any of them really, but there's different variations. Get on there, have a vote. There's a new type of missile. There's a power plant, which provides better energy output. There's a shield generator, which has a lower electromagnetic signature, and you can either have front or rear shields, and it'll just make the shield a lot stronger, obviously. And then there's cooling, which will hopefully provide no overheating, because I know my ship, my Aurora, has crap cool. It overheats all the time, but it really needs better everything, you know. I keep getting warnings saying it's overheating, loss of energy, loss of blooming shields, so I need everything. But the one I voted for was the missiles, because I thought they're EMP missiles, which are unique to the game, obviously. We've only got ballistic missiles so far, so that's what I chose. But the current winner, with 22%, the one that's winning at the moment is a ballistic Gatling gun, and behind that is the cooling. And I would have voted second on the cooling after the missiles, because, as I say, my ship just needs to be cold all the time. It overheats instantly. But I love my Aurora. It's lovely. Anyway, that's the letter for the chairman. Right, so on Around the Verse 14, episode 14, it was hosted by one and only Sandy Gardner, on her own, actually. And what they're going to do is test out something new where they rotate the hosts, so there'll be James Pugh, Ben Lesnick, I think Will from the MVP post, he'll be hosting once in a while as well. She started by mentioning the M50 commercial, which we've all seen, which is a take on the Top Gear style TV program, which is very cool. I hope they actually have that as a real program in the universe. I can just happily sit in my hangar watching that. I probably would do that for a while. So after that, she mentioned about the new patch going up and how private matches aren't available, but they will be coming out, because obviously they're bringing out the 13.1 patch, which is the big patch, and hopefully that will allow private matches to be reiterated in there. CitizenCon tickets have completely sold out. There was only 400, but they're gone now, but there's still PAX Australia, so I'll mention more on that later. Now, news around the verse. So, starting from the beginning, the Arena Commander, they kicked off the push for the version 1.0, so hopefully that won't take too long. That'll come with new controls. I've chatted about this earlier. A lot of new features, not as many as the version 0.9, but I think it controls the issues they had with 0.9. Now, something they're going to implement soon is the breathing sounds of your character, which will react to G-force, and it'll be really nice because it'll be like an audible notification, which will help immerse you more. And the more notifications you've got, like visual ones on your HUD, it will help you react quicker and more naturally than just a normal visual or like a bleep. All of them put together will help you react better. They have begun integrating the Mustang variants, so I think they're working on the last one now. That should be coming up soon, and hopefully we'll get all of them together, and it'll look so cool seeing all the different variants racing together. I hope I get behind the wheel of one, or the joystick of one. Now, she also mentioned that she apparently will be working on the Star Citizen, a custom Star Citizen HOTAS setup, which I know they said they were going to create one themselves, and apparently it's a 12-month project from start to finish, so in 1 year's time I will definitely be getting one. I'm sort of reluctant to pay money out for, your Warthog style ones, because I would much prefer to get the official Star Citizen one, as it will be implemented perfectly for the Star Citizen ships, and hopefully you can maybe move things around to accommodate to your ship. But I will definitely be buying one. Hopefully they won't be too expensive, because my bank manager will hate me if they are. So, Squadron 42, they are focusing on landing systems, mainly fighters, little fighters, their landing gear coming down, but obviously it'll include the bigger ships too. They are working on the zero G-force interactions for the character, so your EVA. And something really cool, which is a very nice immersive touch, is they're going to have the character grabbing things to pull themselves along through the corridors or through, I don't know, while out in space, Very, very nice. I love the sound of that. They have begun greyboxing on the Shuben refinery, landing area and gantry arm, which is something that will go out and pick things up like I don't know how to explain it, like a crane sort of thing, which is also very exciting. I cannot wait to see the Shuben mining base. It's going to be so cool walking around there, or even fighting around there, you know. Now, moving on to the persistent universe, she mentioned there's something called the working on the planetary traffic control system, which I can only assume, if you've obviously played on or seen any footage of the Murray Cup, you can see in the distance ships moving in traffic lanes, all together as one group. So I assume this will be planet-side traffic control, where if you wanted to go to one place to the next on the planet, not like to the shops, so you'd just use the tram, wouldn't you? But I mean, from one landing zone to the next, maybe from Terra, or if you're on Earth, from old Russia to, maybe that's Destiny old Russia, from Russia to London or wherever the other landing zones are. I think you might be able to fly in your single crewed ship or smaller ships and get ultimately taken to this traffic control lane and just be able to stand and look out your window while you are automatically being taken. I hope so. I hope it's like they said with the landing on the planets side of things, because that would be so exciting if you're going past all these new places that you've just landed on and seeing all the different townscapes, and it'll be cool, really cool. Now, the art side of the studio where Sandy Gardner is, they're apparently working on combat drones. Now, they showed a picture of the mining drone when she mentioned this. I'll put it up there for you to see. I'm hoping that I mentioned in one of the previous, or I had a conversation with someone in the comments in one of my previous videos saying how cool it would be to have the mining drones as a combat variant, where you've got big machine guns on the side and you can use them as sort of mechs, I suppose, to attack. So it sounds like they're working on something along those lines. But she also mentioned their art department are working on sculptures as well, and I think they're around the Terra landing zone. Moon Collider, who do the AI for Star Citizen, a 3-man team. They are working on the Persistent Universe's AI roadmap, so they'll be apparently getting, the plans down of what is needed for the AI throughout the Persistent Universe, and just keeping tabs on where to go next and what to do next, so people can keep track of what stage they're at. She also mentioned to expect info soon, as they are working on the Persistent Universe live demo. I don't know how that's going to roll out or how it would work, because surely it will be a more scripted thing rather than a live sort of persistent thing. But I assume it'll be the 3 missions they have been working on so far, because they did mention they're working on, and they've got them playable, I believe, the 3 missions for the Persistent Universe, which are sort of generated randomly. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. There's a lot of work on ship components and the ship component weapons and scanners, which is very much like the one I mentioned in the letter for the chairman, to do with the weapons that are going to be in Voyager Direct. So I think they're getting a lot of new weapons out there, which will work in the Arena Commander as well, I should hope. Concept on the final Mustang variant is being worked on too. They kicked off the concept for the Anvil Carrack, which I know a lot of people are looking forward to that, including myself. They're planning the Avenger variants, and Sandy Gardner mentioned that she gets a lot of requests about this, about the variants of the Avenger, because we've seen the Aurora, we've seen the 300, we've seen a lot of variants for other ships, including bigger ships like the Constellation and the Freelancer, but the Avenger has not had that attention yet, but that's starting, so that's going to be awesome. Now, the MVP, the most valuable post with Will, is about trading. It's like they've laid out, I'll put it up so you can see it now, and I'll put a link in the description, which I will hopefully be printing off, especially now I've just bought a brand new printer because my girlfriend dropped our last one. They've put together a table where you can see all the different trading, like with every area. I've not really looked at it that much, can you tell? With all the different locations and the goods that they are likely to accept in these locations. He's put a graph so you can pretty much tell and work out where you need to be for what supply you're running, what cargo you're running. Very, very handy, and I'll print that off. I assume it will be subject to change as things happen and things change in the Persistent Universe, but it's a good starting point. So with Bug Smashers, we visited the UK branch of Bug Smashers, and they just talked about what they do there, and then we came back to the US one again with Mark Bent, and he explained a crash whenever you try and shoot. I'm not sure if it's at most ships, but he did mention the Hornet. Whenever you try and shoot with the Hornet, the game just crashes. As soon as you instantly press that shoot button, it freezes. So he's explaining how he fixed that one. So on this week's interview was with Gumak Basin, who is the concept artist, Very interesting points on that one if you're interested in concept art. Some lovely questions again. And as always, traditional fashion, she ended with the sneak peek. Now, without having Ben Lesnick there to give away what the sneak peek actually is, we are only able to assume what it could be, and it looked to me very alien, very much like the Banu Merchantman style ship, but it looked bigger than a ship. I'm not sure if it's some sort of location, maybe living area for the Banu, or if it's just an alien space station. But there was dead bodies lying around. Whether or not that's just there for art or not, I don't know. But it could possibly be Vandal space stations or in Vandal territory, because obviously why would there be dead humans around in the Banu area? We get on with the Banu. So that was it. Let's move on. Also on the RSA website this week there was a new galactic guide, which is a location called Bremen, I believe, and that is found on the outer reaches of Charon's Nebula. I'll show a picture of that. Very cool. Can't wait to visit these places. There was a new Terra Gazette post called A Call to Service, which is a short fictitious piece about Tavarian history, which very interesting. Nice to know all the history. Kind of creates the immersion again. The Lego Hornet. Now, we are up to 9,385 votes. It's basically a Lego Hornet. You know, Lego, you can create things with. Someone's designed a Hornet to be made out of a Lego piece, and they needed 10,000 votes to get it developed through the Lego website. There's a link in the description. Go and vote. Let's just get it there. We only need 200 odd more. So, no, that's wrong. Sorry. About 600 more. Let's just get it done, because I want to buy one. I want to have some on my shelves. I used to love Lego. Anyway, moving on. The fan spotlight is Star Citizen in other games, and it pretty much says what it is in the title. It's Star Citizen implemented in different games. Check that out if you're interested. There's a Lore Builder number 14, which it's nice to see Lore Builder back. I used to love these. That's where we got the football, the Sata Ball, and things like that. Just creating a backstory for Star Citizen to make it more immersive and more interesting. It's basically explaining how to write for this, so you can write stories and short stories to put into it to create the lore behind, famous people. But there are certain rules you need to follow. So if you're interested in writing for Star Citizen, check the links what I've put in the description, and it just gives you like writer's guides and basically how you're supposed to follow the rules of Star Citizen. So you're not making crap up that doesn't make any sense to the game itself. So look into that if you're interested. There was a piece about future concept sales for ships, and what that means is every time they bring out a new ship in concept, they have it's like a buyer beware sort of. You buy it early, the stats might change, but you get benefits from it. So you may get a better price, hangar flare like a poster, for example, of your ship, and lifetime insurance. So that comes when you buy it early as a concept. When it's released fine as a final product for people to buy on the website, it won't come with those extras. It'll most likely be a higher price, but the stats may be more up to date than what they could be. So, buy at your own risk, but if you want to get in there, then get in there. There's no reason why you shouldn't. So the concepts in Wave 3 was the RSI Orion, the Origin 890 Jump, the Aegis Reclaimer, the Anvil Carrack, Misk Hull C Discreet, and the Drake Herald. So they're the ones that I think they're currently working on now. So to do with PAX Australia, it's happening on Saturday the 1st of November at the Forum Theatre, and I think it begins at 9 PM, which is Australian, I think it's AED time. Doors open at 8 PM or 7 PM if you're a subscriber, or for concierge, or for the golden ticket holders, whoever you may be. You have to be 18 or over. Unfortunately, you can't go in, you won't be allowed in. There are 1,350 tickets on sale. Now, at this current moment, I've just checked, there's only 738 left, so there's about just under half. Oh, just over half, sorry. So get in there if you're interested. They're $20. They went on sale on the 19th, which is Pacific Summer Time, PDT, or 12 PM on the 20th Australian time again. Get in there if you want to, otherwise you'll miss out. Now, for a final note, I had a comment in one of my previous Star Citizen Sundays from Necro Sanctus, who nicely pointed out that Tangfish report that I told you about, which I thought was just a basic report about someone finding a fish, how stupid do I feel, is actually like a secret message about the stolen ship prototype. Now, I can't remember when it happened, but it went out that some sort of fictitious event where the ship's prototypes and the documents and the blueprints for a ship was stolen from a major corporation and taken by someone else and then recreated by someone else. Now, we believe it may be the Origin 890 jump that was stolen. So the plans were. So Origin may have stolen these plans and created the jump. But if you read it carefully, you can see it is actually code words and sort of, spy-style writing. Very, very clever, and I cannot believe I missed it. Thank you, Necrosanctus, for pointing that out to me. Now, actually, on a final note, should I say, I've been waiting ages for Star Citizen mugs to become available. Now, unfortunately, the official black mugs we see on the desks with Sandy Gardner do not seem to be available at this time. Hopefully they will be, but I found on eBay or Etsy, I'll put a link in the description, someone is selling them at £7.50. I'll show you the pictures, and on the back where you see the little UEE, citizen part, you can actually put your name on, which, you contact them. When you've bought them, you contact them, say, this is my name, can you put this on? And I also asked for my UEE number, which is 90,731, just for the sake of it. And he was completely fine with this. I think it's a UK seller, so if you're abroad, contact them, ask them if they'll send it abroad. They might do it anyway, they might not, but there's no harm in asking. So yeah, buy one if you're interested. I love coffee, so I've definitely bought one. Right, so that's it for Star Citizen Sunday this week. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe for future Star Citizen videos and drop me a comment if you have anything to say. Like the video if you did, and I'll see you in the verse.